Okay, welcome back. So briefly I want to show you Google Earth's elevation tool. I use this when buying property, specifically to find hidden low spots on the earth and the terrain around my property. I did this with a previous property and I found some wetlands and it actually turned out to be correct. Now, elevation with Google Earth can be, a few feet off, so keep that in mind. My particular property is right here, and you can see it's pretty flat. There's nothing visible that would say that there's a creek or any wetlands in this area. But to check your elevation, where it says Google Earth on the bottom right, usually there's a bar underneath that has your coordinates and your elevation. And in order to enable that, you need to go up to your view and make sure that your status bar is checked. So go ahead and check that, and you can see, sorry about that, you can see your elevation, the eye of which you're looking at, meaning how close to the earth you are. So I'm at 3,000 feet above the earth at the moment. It gives you your imagery, date, and everything else. Now if you move your mouse around and you see that the elevation number is not moving, that's because you now have to go over here to your layers panel and turn on terrain, and this will readjust your view. Alright, so now when you move your little cursor on the screen, it's going to change that elevation just below the Google Earth. Alright, so let me show you some other tools here. So as you're using your elevation, you can just move it around slowly and see the high spots and low spots. So my property is pretty flat. Even in the trees, it'll determine high and low spots. So if I took my mouse and moved it slowly across the street, you can see the elevation's actually going down for me. And it goes back up, and now it's going back down pretty significantly. So that tells me that in here there's probably a creek or a lowland. And if I go all the way over here, it goes below 1,000 feet. And that's probably a little wetland in that area. So up here is your path tool. And this is pretty cool, because with this you can draw your path. So let's say I want to walk the perimeter of my property and see if there's any high or low spots. Okay, so save it whatever you want, just click OK, and now you have a path. And this is pretty neat. So go over here to view. Oh, I'm sorry, go to edit. It's under edit, I'm sorry. Show elevation profile. And this comes up. And this will tell you, as you move your cursor down on this bottom portion, what the elevation is at a certain foot marker. So we're at 300 feet into the path, and the elevation is 1,029 feet. See, it goes all the way up, and we hit a high spot in the very back. So there's obviously a hill back there, and then see this steep decline. And this is pretty neat. And then all of a sudden it spikes up over here, so there must be a pretty steep drop off. Alright, so to further this example, let's go to the Grand Canyon. So there's a Grand Canyon. Let's zoom in, and let's go to this peak here. So this peak is at just under 3,000 feet, but as you move your cursor closer to the river, see it's dropping off real quickly. And the river is about 600 feet below. Alright, just kind of shows you how to use the elevation tool when searching for property in lowland areas. It could play a big part in your decision, because building in a wetland is often very difficult. So if you have some really low spots and the average of your property is pretty high, that may not be a building site for you. So just something to keep in mind. Again, Google Earth is an essential tool, and most GIS systems for the county may offer something of this nature, but again, the data is lacking, and Google Earth usually tries to update their imagery at least every 3 to 5 years, so it may be the most accurate tool that you have. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you have any suggestions on videos you'd like to see, please let me know. Also, join my forum at howlingfarms.com and reach out. Help me start this little community. Feel free to leave questions and comments there as well. I typically get lost in all the comments and messages I get on YouTube, so that may be a better avenue for communication. Alright, hope you enjoyed it. On to the next one.